When I was researching short-term rentals, I remember being so curious about how much other people are making. It wasn't just nosiness or that I expect to replicate other people's success, because I know it's always a mix of luck, timing, the person's background and skill set and experience, etc. It was more just getting extra data points and understanding other people's experience, and also just to understand if there is a spin on all the other information that they're saying. Is this the whole story? So in this video, I'll share how our beach house in Florida is doing. I know, I used to do these quarterly and I kind of just forgot. And I'll also share what the numbers mean to me, what I plan to do, and a few thoughts for anyone who is just starting out. I think I'm in a good position to tell you what's up because A, I am also a huge skeptic, so I feel you. Whatever channel I'm watching, I want to see the receipts too. And B, financially speaking, neither the Airbnb itself nor my content about the Airbnb is paying my bills. They're very much fun side hustles for me that you also happen to enjoy, and I very much plan to keep it that way. Let's start with the numbers that you're all here for. Let's take out my laptop. We stopped last in October 2023 in our last video, so please go check that out after this one if you're curious. For November 2023, we made $7,819.36 versus the year prior in 2022, it was $10,485. December this year was $13,420.31 versus last year was $10,046. I think there was just a little difference in how the holiday season lined up. Like there was a longer Thanksgiving-ish booking one year versus the other one. It kind of was more Christmassy bookings. Either way, those added up to be roughly similar. January this year was a little slower, $6,479.21 versus last year it was $8,311. February was $9,331.51 this year versus last year it was $7,891. But keep in mind last year we also visited our house in February and we blocked off a whole week. Before we go on to March, I wanted to tell you about a completely free real estate investing community that I'm starting on Fractional, who is kindly partnering with me on this video. This beach house that we're talking about right now is a joint venture between myself and some family. Partnering with other investors was a complete game changer because it allowed us to get into projects that we wouldn't otherwise have been able to just with our own skills, our own capital. If you're also interested in meeting and potentially partnering with other real estate investors within this audience community, which for many times I have said are genuinely like the nicest, most level-headed, open-minded people on the internet, use the link below to check out my community on Fractional. On this platform, you can invest as little as $5,000 to own a piece of a property with other investors. We can collaborate on analyzing deals, we can meet other investors, and I think one really cool thing about working with other partners is A, you get to meet other experienced investors who can kind of show you the ropes. B, there are other people who are keeping you accountable, so if you're kind of feeling stuck and doing this by yourself, meeting like-minded individuals can help you move along in your journey. And then lastly, C, people just naturally have different skill sets, and bringing together different people can often work really well as a team. For each of these partnerships, Fractional takes care of the LLC setup, the legal, accounting, like distributing K1s, collecting all the initial capital funds, and the banking and the loan process, basically all the kind of admin back-end stuff that are super important but kind of boring for a fee that is relative to the size of the transaction. And it's a fee that you would know upfront and it's super transparent so that you can factor in when you are analyzing a deal. And obviously you're not paying anything until you're closing on a deal. The biggest thing that I like is that the property is owned by the LLC that is created, regardless of the Fractional platform. You have actual ownership of an actual property and you get to make ownership decisions. You get all the tax benefits that come with ownership, which is a lot different than if you were to invest in a REIT or in a syndicate fund. I also plan to periodically host live Q&As and some deep dives into property analyses. So make sure you use the link below to check out Fractional. Okay, going back to the numbers. For March, we made $15,362.64 this year versus last year, it was $12,329. For April, it was $9,995.08 this year versus $11,102. I think maybe spring break lined up more in March this year. I'm not really sure, but those kind of evened out similarly. For May, it was $10,984.38 this year. I now have 2 data points for previous Mays. In 2022, we got this crazy $20,000 reservation that will never again be replicated. It was just kind of a fluke, I think. And then for 2023, it was only $8,144. For June, unfortunately, it was $3,414 this year. Super low, I know, but the payments for a couple of the bookings towards the end of the month were for some reason delayed and went into July. In comparison, 2022, which was our first year in business, it was $6,475, which was also kind of low, versus 2023, it was $14,774. And side note, kind of because of this shift in June, July is looking really amazing. I haven't tallied up all the numbers yet, obviously, because we're still in July, but it's looking like it might even beat that $20,000 record we had previously. I'll keep you posted in the next update. So in aggregate, for the past 8 months, we made $76,807 versus the same 8 months from the previous year, it was $83,082, which is a difference of $6,275, aka a 7.5% decrease. If you recall from that first how much we made kind of video, I'll link it right here. Our profit for the entire year at that time was only $8,000. So going down in revenue by this much is significant. Fortunately, even though our income has gone down, so have our expenses. We've made so many ridiculous rookie mistakes in that first year, and since then, we've really dialed that back. I've shared a lot of these mistakes on the channel as we've gone along, but I think I'll have to compile all this badness and make another video because hopefully it can help somebody else save some headaches and some money. So I guess moving on to kind of the part 2 of this video, what is my takeaway? What does this all mean? I want to first point out the ginormous swings in income from one month to the other. We've had months of barely getting to $3,000, which wouldn't even cover all the fixed expenses like the utilities, the mortgage, lawn care, the cleaning, all the stuff. And then we get some absolutely insane months like $15,000, $20,000. My weakness, and I've known this from the beginning, is that I tend to attribute any failure to my own fault. Like if the bookings are low, there must be something wrong with the pricing. There's something wrong that I'm not doing. Maybe I'm not refreshing the listing often enough. Maybe I'm not optimized for the algorithm, all the things. I assume more to be within my control and I try to solve it and I can't and it drives me crazy. When really sometimes it's just the season. It's literally storming outside and no one's going to go to the beach. But when things are going well, I'm really quick to credit it to luck. Like, oh wow, this person booked it for a whole month. This will never happen again. What a fluke. Operationally, this is not a bad thing to always look for ways to improve, but mentally, this is no good. It's something I've been working on, and I want to say if you're thinking about starting an Airbnb, I want you to be mentally prepared for some of these income swings so that you know to expect them and think through how you would react and maybe proactively work through some of your weaknesses if there's anything there. The second thing that I'm thinking about as I look at these numbers is, am I happy with this investment? And I guess there are 2 parts of answering this question. First of all, the cash flow is non-existent. I can't rely on it for anything. But my equity in this property has roughly tripled because of the loan pay down and appreciation. And I also got some free vacations, some tax benefits, and I'm not even counting the intangible things like family memories and learning stuff. So I'm really happy we invested, and I'm happy with the gains thus far, albeit mostly unrealized gains. And not to discredit the hard work that we put into this place because it does take a lot of effort, but I really have to credit an element of luck and timing with housing prices and interest rates. The second part, though, of whether I'm happy with this investment, noting the decline of revenue in this previous year compared to the year prior, naturally, we're going to have to look at some numbers. Is the market just bad, or am I screwing up? I won't hold you in suspense. There is something we need to change, but I think this is a good lesson. So looking at my market on AirDNA, just filtering into the 4 to 6 bedroom houses, it seems like I am worse than the market. And to determine what makes this difference, I used the filters to split up the different amenities. And it looks like maybe the answer is in the pool. Homes without a pool have declined in revenue by about 5%, whereas homes with a pool have actually increased quite a bit in revenue, and they have had higher occupancy as well. I'm kicking myself a little bit here because we had talked about adding a pool at some point, and I initially thought to defer because, well, if the economy is not doing well and people are not traveling as much and they're not going to be spending as much, wouldn't the most luxury places be hit hardest? But this was not correct and it was too generalized. In reality, not everyone has been affected the same way as the economic landscape shifts. While a lot of people are absolutely indeed struggling and living paycheck to paycheck, those are not the people booking thousands of dollars of a stay on Airbnb in the first place. Those people seem to be doing just fine and they continue to travel. I don't like this any more than you do, but it seems to be true. And this latter group is really my target audience for our beach house, and they're probably not too fussed about adding just a few $100s for a nice amenity like a pool. So this is what I'm currently looking into. I think it'd be good to do a deep dive on pool versus no pool decision, kind of looking into the ROI of that versus the ROI of getting a new property. Let me gather some more information and I will report back. The final takeaway is, are Airbnb still a good investment? Would this be a good idea for you? And that's a trick question because you know I can't give financial advice. What I can tell you is that this exact property in today's market, in today's prices, today's interest rates, would not work. And I fully recognize and want to highlight the luck and timing that went into this. That said, I believe it's still possible to find something that does work because we know people are still traveling. The vacation home industry continues to do really well and it's growing. And we know that the top performing properties are really killing it. It's just that now it's even more expensive to enter into an investment. The bar for quality of the experience is much higher. And so finding the right property that could work is going to take you a lot more time. I don't remember which video, but there was somebody that made a comment previously that said, this sounds like way too much work for the amount of returns, which can be true. You really do have to consider the whole package of what you are putting in as far as capital and time and risk compared to what you gain in total. So not just the cash flow, but also the levered returns, any tax advantages, vacations, and maybe other intangible things if you want to put a value on those. Don't forget to join me on Fractional and the link below. It's completely free. It doesn't commit you to any specific investments if you just want to browse around and meet other people and see what other people are working on. Or if you're ready to invest and you've found some properties but just need other people to partner with, share it with the group privately on Fractional. I hope this was helpful and I'll see you again next week. Bye!